everyone, it's Justine and welcome to my first tutorial of 2017 on the rainbow stencil technique. I'm going to be showing you how to create this card here as well as its coordinating envelope. To get started, I'm going to be grabbing some washi tape, and as you'll notice I have it stuck on my arm, and the reason why is because it is going to reduce the stickiness and the chance of it ripping my cardstock when I take it off. I'm going to be using the Tim Holtz stencils here, and they're both the same stencil, just in two different sizes. It is very rare that I buy, actually this is the only time I've ever bought Tim Holtz's stencils in two different sizes, being the same stencil, because I wanted a variety of these grunge splatters to be in different sizes, and I thought that because I use this stencil quite often, that could be the case here for this card. So I'm starting off with some Wilted Violet Distressing, and I'm just going to be darkening up the area of the stencil. Although you're sped up, it took me about 10 minutes to do the splatter on this card, a little less, just to give you some time perspective, because I do have you in a fast motion so that you don't get too bored. I'm grabbing some 3M masking tape so I can mask off certain areas of the stencil that I don't want to be inked up. I'm going to vary these throughout the card making process so that I can block off different areas. This color here is Abandoned Coral, and it's such a pretty color of a mixture of orange and pink. Then I'm going to be going in with some Squeezed Lemonade, which is a very vibrant yellow and the most vibrant yellow in the Tim Holtz line. If you're going to get one yellow ink, this is the one that I would recommend because it is that really fun sun yellow. It's also a great color because it coordinates and blends well with a lot of different distress inks. Next up, I'm going to be doing some Carved Pumpkin, and this is another one of those really vibrant oranges, so if you're looking for that really vibrant color, that's the one you're going to go for. If you're looking for something a little more dull, you could try Spiced Marmalade. And then lastly, I'm going to be using Twisted Citron, which in my opinion is a really hard color in order to blend with other colors because it's that lime green color and it often makes a muddy brown. So what I did was I just added small areas here next to these colors, and then I also went off of my card here and just added little splurts and splatters around there so that they didn't have to blend with any of the other colors, which is a really good technique if you're having trouble figuring out which colors blend together. Next up, I'm going to be doing some stamping on the front of my card, and I'm using this Hello stamp from Create a Smile. It's such a great stamp, and since I'm designing this card for the AAA Card Challenge Hello Challenge, this is absolutely perfect for the theme. So I'm going to be stamping not only hello, but the just wanting to. I absolutely love stamps like this where there's a couple of large sentiments and then they have coordinating sayings to go with them so you can mix and match and get a perfect sentiment every time. They're really useful and you can use them a lot of different cards without getting bored of the stamp. These are really great from Create a Smile stamps, and Winnie and Walter has a lot of great ones as well. I'm going to be inking this up using some versafine ink, and I am going to be stamping this in this color because it is my favorite ink to do sentiments because it's so crisp and clear. However, because I didn't press down hard enough, I didn't get that H stamped properly, so I'm just going to go in and stamp again. It really is the miracle of the Misty. It saves me so many cards and things like that, because if I had done this with an acrylic block, unfortunately, my card probably would have been ruined if I had tried to double stamp over top, and after 10 minutes of doing that splatter, I really didn't want that to happen. So I folded up a card base. This is made out of 110-pound cardstock, and it's Nina Solar White. And I'm grabbing my panel that I just created, with my mistake on the back and all, and I'm grabbing some Tombow Mono liquid adhesive glue, and I'm going to stick that down so that there's a nice white frame of the card base behind the card itself. I'm going to hold it down there for a couple of seconds with my fingers, checking to make sure I don't have ink on my fingers, and then that's going to create the perfect little finishing touch. Now, as I mentioned, my goal is going to be to create on the inside of my cards as well as envelopes. So I'm going to grab this sentiment here, and it's from the Ton, and it's the Pyrotechnic stamp set that it comes from. It's a fireworks stamp, and it's going to say, "You're amazing, remember that." And then I'm going to grab my mini stencil from Tim Holtz again, and I'm just going to ink up two of the ink splatters in Abandoned Coral, and I'm going to be using the Carved Pumpkin as well, just so you get that little bit of the front tied into the middle of the card, and it's a nice surprise when the person goes to open the card. Now I'm just going to create a coordinating envelope. I've spent so much time on the inside of my card as well as the outside that why not make a pretty envelope to go into it as well. So I'm grabbing some 3M masking tape, and I pre-cut them to be the same size, and I'm just sticking them down here onto my card. This is going to be a masked off area for where I'm going to write the address for the people that I'm sending it to. So I'm grabbing some Twisted Citron ink, and I'm just going to ink up one of these splatters again, and I'm going to do these on both of the corners of the masked areas, so the bottom right as well as the top left, and it's going to make things quite fun. So again, I'm just going to use the small one on this one for the stencil, just because it's more convenient, and I'm just switching back and forth. So I'm using this as the Wilted Violet, and then I'm going to simply add another little color here using the Abandoned Coral. Once again, this is definitely one of my favorite colors, so I like to use it quite often. And I just have to keep in mind, remember, where my return address is going to be and my stamp. And you can see here that I have my masked off area where I can write the people's address. And then I'm simply going to grab a black pen, and I'm just going to do a doodle border here. And all I'm doing is just adding some lines with some fun little loops. And I think that's going to be a really fun addition to the card itself. So I hope you enjoyed today's card tutorial and all the little extras that I packed into this video. And I hope you'll check out my blog for the supply list, as well as more details and pretty photos of this card. Thanks so much for watching.